Wait, Yerik Shinwenwen, or Yerik Shidisht. Good morning or good night. Nlaka'pamux. Um, Kristen Squext. Hope you're doing well. This is the Indigenous Film Review. So Kukstemc for being here and Kukstemc for another day. So I just recently rewatched this Contagion. Nothing spreads like fear or gas. So I watched this. This came out in 2011. It's a Steven Soderbergh Fest film. And it's got an all-star cast. Marion Cotillard, Matt Damon, Lawrence Fishburne, Jude Law, Gwyneth Paltrow, Kate Winslet, Bryan Cranston, Jennifer Ely, Sanaa Lathan. I don't know. And it's interesting to watch this now that we've been through a freaking pandemic and very serious illness, disease, virus, and it's really good. I like it, but don't watch it right now. Watch it after the pandemic, okay? Because it got me all paranoid to leave the apartment yesterday. I had to go get groceries, and I was like, oh. But it's definitely really interesting to watch how they got a few things, like, because we're dumb, especially America, the whole anti-mask thing, anti-vax thing, it just blows my mind. That's not in the movie because the movie's fiction. But it's really interesting to see the behind the scenes of how organizations that are functioning, a functioning government and a functioning series of organizations for health, work on handling a pandemic. Of course, there's some interesting scenes, like where the municipal governments, when she's in Minnesota, are pushing back. Oh, it's the biggest shopping weekend of the year, and it's all about money and commerce and business, right? So that's the politicians. So it's a good movie. It starts with Gwyneth Paltrow in Hong Kong, I think, comes in contact with the virus and brings it back home to Minnesota. But she has a layover in Chicago and screws around on Matt Damon. And so that guy gets it. So Chicago, and it traces back all the people she had an interaction with. The waiter at the casino she was at, just all the people around her and how the disease spread. It went to Japan, it went to London, it went all over the freaking world. Because we live in a global community, right? We just don't really believe it, but we do. Air travel, go anywhere in the world in a day. So it's really good. It's interesting. Jude Law is like this prophet, a shyster, a snake oil salesman. He sells this thing called forsythia, and it's fake. And he's just this hack, he's an interesting conspiracy theorist guy who's out to, I don't know, megalomaniaze himself. So that's really interesting. Matt Damon's got a good character, but his sweaters are like way too big because he's like puffy. Or maybe he was just, I don't know. His character's good. It's a really interesting movie. It's worth watching. Or grandma might not like it though. She might get scared. She's like, oh, wash their hands. What the hell are they doing? Yes, they're stupid. They should just stay home. That's what my granny would say. And my aunties would be like, because they all work in education or some degree of, they're all in the health or mental health industry. So they'd be, because they would most likely be frontline, so they would be like, I'm not going to work tomorrow. I'm not going to work. And my uncles would be like, how many times do I touch my face? Hey? Hey? Mabel? How many times do I touch my face today? They'd be all paranoid. You do get paranoid from this. You get the heebie-jeebies, and It's good. It's good. That's a good movie. That's a sign of a good movie when it mentally and physically affects you. So this would be Granny approved. This one's not for kids either, because kids be like asking you a million questions and driving you up the wall. But Auntie would watch it. Uncle would watch it, but he'd probably get bored and go work on the truck or something, you know. Because it's just, there's a lot to take in when you watch this film, a lot of information, and then you start to scrutinize it from a real world experience of a pandemic, how they handled it. And then there's like a special feature, Contagion, how a virus changes the world. And they kind of got it right. You know, it's interesting to look back on something 10 years ago, how they handled it. So we could learn a lot. You know, Australia is having concerts, New Zealand is having concerts, and no masks, and it's really interesting to compare now versus fiction, reality versus fiction. So watch it. Watch Contagion. Get your alcohol squeezy stuff to clean your hands, and you know, wipe and sanitize everything, and you know, get your mask on and watch it with your loved one, your spouse, or whatever, your blow up doll, whatever. Who cares? Just watch the damn movie. This is your uncle. This is the Indigenous Urban Rez review. Kukstemc for being here, and Kukstemc for another day. I'll give this movie 8 thumbs up out of 10. So check it out. It's worth it. It's good. All right.